So we've got our HK-24 machined on the shaper. That one's all done and it's ready to start being scraped in. So we're going to move on from this one over to the HKA-24 and start machining that on the shaper now. This is the one that's going to have the 45-degree dovetail that we're going to cut on it. All right. We're going to do the same practices on this one that we did on this one over here. We're going to cut in the ribs so that they are nice and straight on both sides there, so that the vise isn't distorting it. And what I mean by that is, whenever I clamp it in the vise this way, I don't want it bending it. You know, I want this to be a straight plane on both sides, so that when we're clamping it, it's not, you know, bending it one way or the other. So we'll do the two sides first, and then we'll flip it over, and then we'll cut all three sides. All right. This is the sandpaper that I was using. We're going to put it back onto the vise here. Got three of them tight down on that tool bit. That one's just sliding. I can feel it catching it, but it's there. So we're going to call that one bump down. I've been getting my tool height set, making sure that the ram here is going to clear the dovetail of the straight edge there. If you look through there, we've got plenty of clearance, and we're not going to need very much just to clean this up. We've got a lot of overhang here, but we're not taking excessive cuts either. We're just taking very minimal, so this is not going to be any issue here. I've got it where I want it. We've got the angle set against that shoulder, so we're going to go ahead and tighten it up right there. We're ready to start making our cuts. Just using this rule as a straight edge here. If I lay this across there, the ribs, just visually looking at it, it looks fairly straight. There's this one looks a little bit low, this one looks a little bit low, but I mean, it looks like the ends and the center is all touching. So what I was looking for was like that pivot point, you know, like a high where we could touch off. So you can use this kind of like as a gauge. So we'll just go right down the middle and just start touching our tool there. I'll get it set and then we'll start making a cut there. I just ran into an unexpected problem here. And I didn't have this problem on the other one, but this thing was not tempered correctly, or it wasn't tempered to where at least this area here is soft. The other straight edge I had no problem, but this is all hard spots all up in here, and I've got these are my hardness tester files right here. And this is a 40 Rockwell file, and in here in the shiny spots where you can see that it's hard, it just glides across it. See that? Doesn't cut it. So I worked my way up to a 60 Rockwell, and the 60 is trying to cut it. I can actually see it scratching it. So this is pretty close to 60 Rockwell where the hard spots are in that. So this is not, I'm not going to be able to machine this, at least this area right here. This would have to be done on a grinder, or you would have to temper this in an oven to get it soft again. So I'm hoping that this is not the same way. So the only thing, I'm just going to go ahead and set it up the way I didn't want to, and just go ahead and clamp the ribs. We'll just use the same method, you know, using the sandpaper, and we'll just clamp the ribs and go ahead and start cutting in the top of it, and seeing if maybe they tempered it to where the working area here that you have to machine and scrape is soft, and they didn't do the handle. But that wouldn't make any sense to me. This seems like this would just be in an oven of some sort to do the heat treat to bring the temper back down. So I'm not really sure. This is going to be a little bit of a mystery and a project. So I'm just going to keep going forward with it and seeing if it's cut. If I can't machine this, then I'm going to be talking to Richard King and letting him know that this is not machinable, and I'm going to have another one. All right, regroup here. Let's start over. I've got the thing flipped on its flipped upside down there. So we're just clamped straight up against the ribs. We're using our sandpaper. It seems to be biting pretty good. I closed it up in there and then looked at the paper, and it was getting a contact on all of them there. So I've got it. I went ahead and touched the tool off. It's touching on this side, so it seems to be just a little low here, but we're just gonna set it in there like it is and just start cutting it in flat. All right, touched off here, and I moved down 50 thousandths. So we're gonna take a 50 thousandths cut, but we're gonna have to come back and take more to get it cleaned up all the way across there. right, so far our first cut did good, and I'm not running into any hard spots, so that's a good thing right there. I was really worried that maybe it wasn't tempered right, but maybe this side is. So we're going to go ahead and continue our cuts and get this side cleaned up. There is a chip on the edge out here on the very first end, so I'm going to make sure that I get some of that cleaned up there as well, so that whenever we machine the dovetail there, we got a good machined edge all the way down from end to end. That last cut was actually 60 thousandths. That was another 16th taken off there. We still got a low spot here. I still got this chip down here on the end we got to clean up. So I'm gonna make another one of those cuts and you know, get this down. Probably do that off camera since I've been showing this, and get it down to where I want to. Then we'll move on and start cutting the backside here. All right, we're going to start cutting in this side right here. We'll use our automatic down feed. quiet clean up that, I want to come back and take another cut. Make sure we get all that. I think we can make another. We'll just go ahead with it. We'll make a finish pass. How about that? Our cleanup cut there now. That'll be the last one on the side. Before I turn the tool head over to do our angle over on this side, I'm going to go ahead and cut the top end to finish it. We're going to go back to our square nose tool and then use our finishing techniques there. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and modify this tool. The width of it is, I believe it was around 290, so it's a 294 on the width. And since our step over, our max step over on the machine is 180 thousandths, I'm going to grind the width of this down to let's just say 200 thousandths. That'll give it about 20 thousandths overhang there of the width of the step over there. Now I'm going to see if that improves the finish that it leaves in this parallel finish on the cast iron. So it doesn't need to be that wide since our step over is only 180 thousandths. It's about 100 thousandths wider than it needs. So that's what I want to do, modify that tool. We'll go ahead and retouch the nose of the tool as well, and then that way we'll just re-hone it and I can see a nice honed edge all the way across there. looking nice. We are ready to cut. First pass with the finish tool there. Looks really nice. And I can still see some either tool marks or some pitting right there. I'm going to go back in there with some more finish cuts. And keep it going.